typical day for me is where I'll usually wake up, grab breakfast, come back down, play games for a couple hours. I spend pretty much all day on video games. I truly think I am addicted to the video games. This is my room. These are all my old consoles, usually from 2002 down to the 80s. We have the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, and then the Nintendo GameCube from 2002. My mom does frustrate me sometimes when she takes my games.
You've been playing games all day long.
Sometimes I'll yell at her. When we got into a fight about my games, I was like rampaging around the house, trying to find them, like opening drawers, opening cabinets, rummaging through even the pantry because I was just so upset about it. When I came down here and punched a big hole in the wall, and then she was like yelling at me, trying to say stop, but I just kept going. I stopped going to school 2 days ago. I don't feel like I can do school right now. It's very difficult for me. Why? I have no clue. Me not going to school is a brand new thing. I just don't feel school is for me at the moment. My dad and I did get into a physical altercation. I was sitting in the office playing my games, and he came and grabbed me, threw me on the floor, and then I got back up. I tried to run away. He grabbed me, pushed me out the door, tried to get me into his car. He apologized, I apologized, so we're on good terms now. It does bother me that my parents are divorced. It's very upsetting to me, very sad. I have seen my parents fight before. I am bothered by it. It's kind of upsetting, but I would love to see my parents get back together one day. I just don't think it'll ever happen.
We will be flying out of the airport to go to the Dr. Phil show.
You enjoy your time in LA?
So you'll most likely not be willing to go.
Correct.
And that means if I try to get you to go in the car, what happens?
Well, remember when Dad tried to get me in the car? He couldn't even get me in the car. I doubt you can as well. Personally, I think I can solve the problem myself. I don't think I need to be on the Dr. Phil show, and I feel that this is a waste of my time. I'm not going.
Both parents did agree that something needed to be done. And when that happens and parents agree, then we involve what's called a transporter.
We've just arrived at the family home. We're going to go inside and meet our young man.
This is Mike. This is Laura.
We're your handlers. Dr. Phil has cordially requested your presence in Hollywood. He would really like to meet you. Our job is to just kind of get to the flight, make sure we catch everything on time, make sure all your needs are met. What questions do you have?
I'm good.
Can I shake your hand?
Sure.
My name is Mike again.
Yeah. So right now we are at the airport and we're heading off to LA, going to the Dr. Phil show. I do hope to resolve some of the issues at my house, or me not going to school, my mom and I getting along. I was very nervous this morning when the transport team came because I've always had my doubts about going. There was thought in my head that I didn't want to go, and I've seen the Dr. Phil show before, and I've seen that people do have to come to their house and take them, so I was just going to go with the flow and accept what I needed to do. Missing out on this opportunity is going to be a big mistake, and I think Dr. Phil is going to be able to help me out with my problems right now, and I'm very excited.
Well, Jake, I appreciate you cooperating at that point and coming, and your mother has written in a number of times over the last several years, right? She's been very serious about this and
Yeah, I know.
Concerned about your gaming and spending time with that. Do you think that you have a problem with that?
I think fully I have a very big problem with gaming, and
What is it about it that appeals to you so much?
I think it's fun to take my mind away from the real life like tragedies and hardships, and I think it's fun to just get away from that and hone in on that game. And
Just last week, was it, that you got into a physical altercation with your father?
yes,
How did that come about?
I decided not to go to marching band.
You had called and said, you want to handle this like a man, I'm coming and we'll take it in the front yard
Yeah.
and have it out.
Yeah, we went out the front yard. He tried to get me into his front car seat, and he couldn't get me in there, and he fell on the ground.
But how do you feel about the fact that you got into a physical fight with your father in the yard?
It made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Me too.
You've knocked holes in the wall, you've torn shelves down, you've aggressed against the dog, you've aggressed against your mother. How do you feel about that?
That, once again, is not acceptable. I feel awful about it now. When I get my games taken away, I feel personally I don't have control over my mind and what I'm doing. So
Do you go into withdrawal?
I think that is what happens to me.